My demanding mom insisted I give her my house, claiming my pregnant younger sister needed it more than I did. I'm a 31-year-old man, and my 28-year-old sister has always been the golden child in my mom's eyes, though my dad never saw her that way. When I was a teen, my parents split up after my mom cheated on my dad with her high school ex. She's always been bossy, manipulative, and narcissistic, and sadly, my sister followed in her footsteps. Mom used to act like she had complete control over me. Whenever she snapped her fingers, I was expected to jump, and it was humiliating. My sister always backed her up too. So, when my parents divorced, I chose to live with my dad full-time while my sister stayed with our mom. They were very much alike and pretty much stopped talking to my dad unless they wanted money. I took after my dad more. He was business-focused and started teaching me how to do his work when I turned 16. I got pretty good at it and eventually became his business partner after 12 years. Everything was going well until about 8 months ago when tragedy struck. My dad, who had been a smoker for most of his life, had a weakened immune system and passed away from COVID-19 at the age of 60. We had a socially distanced funeral over a video call, and it was the first time I'd seen my mom and sister in years. My sister seemed sad, but my mom didn't show much emotion, which didn't shock me. The last time she saw my dad, she had screamed at him about money and even threatened to sue him. My dad just laughed it off, as he had paid alimony and child support for as long as he was legally required to. When Dad's will was read, I learned that he had expected something to take him sooner or later and had made preparations. He left me nearly all his assets, his business, his home, and most of his money. My sister got a 2015 Nissan Altima and $10,000. Mom received just $1,000 and a few other items she'd been claiming as hers since the divorce. I moved into the house Dad left me, and my girlfriend now lives there with me. My sister didn't do much after finishing 2 years of community college. She mostly lived off her boyfriend and worked part-time online for several years. She had a rough miscarriage before the pandemic, which I only found out about after the funeral. When the pandemic hit, her boyfriend's job started cutting back, and soon he was working part-time, which hurt their finances. He told her to find better work, and she got pregnant again. She called this her miracle baby. One evening, I got a surprise knock at my door. My mom and sister barged in without asking, making themselves at home in my living room. My girlfriend and I exchanged confused looks, and I asked why they were there. My sister started snooping around, giggling and giving herself a tour of the house. Mom plopped down on the couch and snapped her fingers, demanding a cold bottled water. My girlfriend, trying to be polite, brought her one. My sister yelled from down the hall, "Mommy, it's perfect." And yes, she still calls her mommy. That's when my mom finally said, "Well, it's time for you to fulfill your brotherly duty." I had no idea what she meant until she explained. According to her, since Dad was gone, the house should have gone to her as his only spouse. But she generously offered that I could fix things by giving the house to my sister, who needed it more because of the baby. She even suggested I could stay in one room and pay all the bills until I found another place. My girlfriend and I had read enough stories online to see where this was heading, so we were ready. I took a deep breath and told them flat out, "That's not happening. You don't boss me around, especially not in my own house." I reminded them I was saving my money, just like Dad had, not that they cared. Mom snapped her fingers again and loudly said, "I'm your mother, and you'll do what I say because I brought you into this world. As far as you're concerned, I'm God, and that means when I say jump, you ask how high." She declared that the house was hers and told me to consider it my eviction notice, giving me 2 weeks to transfer the deed to her. At this point, I grabbed my phone and started dialing. Mom stood up, yelling, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm calling the cops to get you out of my house." She tried to knock the phone out of my hand, but I grabbed it in time. That's when she slapped me, and I slapped her back, harder. She was shocked, holding her face, but I told her if she didn't leave, I'd have the police remove her by force. My sister, playing the victim, stepped in and said I should do the right thing and be a good big brother. I lost it. I reminded her that I'd worked hard for everything I had since I was a teenager while she sat around playing games and wasting money. I told them to get out, or I'd finish dialing. My sister started crying, and Mom hugged her, glaring at me. Then she tried to scare me by saying she could lie to the police, claiming I hit her and even made up things about threatening my pregnant sister. But I raised my hand to stop her and pointed out that my girlfriend had been recording everything. I told her I had video proof of everything that happened, including her threatening to lie to the police. That was enough to make Mom deflate. She dragged my crying sister out of the house. It took a while because my sister threw a tantrum on the porch, yelling, "You promised me." Mom eventually got her to leave, flipping me off as they drove away. That wasn't the end, though. A few days later, I started getting angry messages from relatives, and I found out my mom and sister had posted lies about me on social media, claiming I stole the house that was meant for my sister. My girlfriend and I screenshot everything and took it to my lawyer. He wanted to send them a formal cease and desist letter, but I pushed for something more serious. After they received the letter, my mom called, furious. I told her if they didn't take down the lies and tell the truth, I'd send the evidence to the whole family and her boss. I even threatened to upload the videos of her to the internet and sue her. Reluctantly, she agreed, and later that night, all the posts disappeared. Both my mom and sister apologized publicly, admitting the house was mine according to Dad's will. My sister and her boyfriend ended up moving into Mom's basement, and they've been fighting ever since. She keeps complaining online about her living situation while Mom barely posts anymore after the stunt she pulled.